Many people these days think that recaps are the major issue for tires exploding. That's not true. The real issue is underinflation. This tire shows obvious signs of underinflation. As you see, inside the tire, there's an inner liner. It's the smooth surface that keeps the tire sealed up. When the tire is underinflated, it tends to bulge, and the sidewalls will flex excessively and heat up. And that heat will separate the inner liner from the casing, as you can see here. When that occurs, air leaks out rapidly. The remaining air will leak out rapidly, and then while the flexing is going on, the cords will break, and then the tire will explode. Oftentimes, it's much worse. They end up like this. There's nothing more than a sidewall left on the wheel. Usually by the time they get to the tire shop, that's all that's left. The big piece of rubber is still on the road and waiting for you to run over it. Now, one of the best ways to prevent tire problems is to check your tire pressure. The best time to check your tire pressure is when the tires are cold. Now, you don't have to have an expensive gauge as this. You can mainly feel it. This one feels cool. This says 80 degrees. That's well below. It is the ambient temperature for the area. Use your tire gauge. This one says 100 pounds. That's excellent. Another device that is available is a thing called Crossfire. Also, one is available that's called Cat's Eye. Either one work very much the same way, in which they have an indicator to let you know if the air is a proper pressure or not. This one indicates about 5 to 10 pounds over, probably because the tire has a little heat in it. And see, this guy, he doesn't use any kind of inflation system, and his tires are kind of hard to check because you have to stick this gauge in here and pull it back, and the inside one is very difficult to get to. That's why I use my Crossfires. Makes checking the tire easy. One-step operation. A lot of companies use inflation systems such as this Tire Max system to maintain air pressure. It's monitored electronically, and the driver has an indicator lamp, such as this one, to let them know what the status is. If you read the warnings, it will certainly tell you what the light means. Continuously on means there's some kind of problem. You need to stop and get it checked out. Also, there's usually instruction on how to manually check your air pressure. Inspect the tire. Check it to see if there's any unusual wear patterns. Here's a bit of an unusual wear pattern. It's probably caused by a little bit of imbalance or possibly some suspension issues. Keep the rocks cleaned out of the treads. They will work their way into the tire. Another thing you can do to help your tires along is to keep them rotated on a regular basis. About once every other oil change would be good, unless you have an extended service requirement on your oil. And then every 15 to 20,000 miles would probably be okay. Avoid curbs. Curbs will do damage to the sidewalls and cause tear damage to your tire, or instant damage sometimes. Another thing you can use to help your tires is a balancing system. There are some that are available that you put inside the tire. It's a bead of sorts, and it rotates inside the tires and it keeps them balanced. I use these Centromatic. They go between the two tires, and they have a material inside this ring that moves around and keeps the tires in balance. And it's really contributed to the life of my retread tires. I use them. I believe in them. In conclusion, don't be afraid of retreaded tires. They're okay. All they need is the same maintenance a new tire would use. Proper air pressure, don't run over curb, keep them balanced and rotated, and you'll have a good long life out of your tire. If you see a tire on the side of the road, what you call a cap that has flung off, it's probably due to underinflation and not retread failure. You can always tell if the retread is laying on the side of the road and has a bunch of wires hanging off of it, the steel cords that provide the strength for the tire sidewall, it's under inflation. It's not the cap coming off. When the cap comes off, there'll be no wire. And you don't see that often. You don't see that very often at all. I'd like for you to show me one. That's about it. You guys have a great day.